I'm sorry. It's gonna be a recap of Friday. You feel me? You feel me? Nice little tape reading, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, coming into the day of Friday, let's build our context before, we get our draw for the day, right? This is gonna be my trades, um, where I messed up, where I could be better, how to play the day really. So coming from someone who kind of, who knows how to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, coming in on the daily, right? We obviously have this, large sweep, right? So it's understand our context here, the context of the situation, right? Then we get a nice little model right here, actually, and then this is time based model too. This is sweeping out Asia highs and a daily high, right? London manipulation, New York continuation, right? So really strong time based model right here. Um, we sweep Asia highs, right? Um, Inverse this fair value gap, inverse this order block, right? Strong three down close candles, right? Closing below all this, change the state, all that, right? Um, we do not have a fair value gap bearish wise, but this is pretty strong model right here, right? Close below. What are we doing after that? We're still respecting this inverse order block, right? So we're still respecting um, bearish PD raise even after we sweep London's low, or this low right here is not London low. Might be Asian lows actually, I don't know. But after we sleep this low, this 1 hour low, we're still acting bearish, right? So we can obviously, um, fuck, I'm going for the wrong day. But anyways, right, we have this strong time-based model, right? And the way this model closes, right, we're closing weak, very weak price action coming in the whole day. We close weak. After markets, right, we continue to push down, right? So coming into the open, right, just around open this area, right, we sweep these daily lows. So I'm saying once again though, once we sweep these lows, we have this, very strong bearish context with this bearish model, right? So we sweep this low. I'm like, okay, I kind of want to see how we react here, right? We come back into this fair value gap, right? We're respecting it. Now we're gonna come down to London session lows. This is the last thing I'm looking at before we, you know, what? All right. Okay. Anyways, you feel me? We pop back into this bearish fair value gap even after sweeping these, these daily lows, right? Um, we respect it. We wick off. Look at this nice wick, right? Nice close. Now we have this London low. This is the last thing in our way. Right? I want to see how we react to this. If we can, push through this, I'm thinking we obviously want to come down to these stacked lows on NQ. Let me show you guys. Stacked lows, right? When you think of a buy model or a market maker sell model, right? What do we have, right? This is the smart money reversal. There's no SMT here. Actually, it actually was like a 15-minute SMT right here. But anyways, um, you have like your market maker sell model, right? We have the smart money reversal up here, right? Where does the model normally come to end, right? Where's the strongest move, right? Second stage reaccumulation, right? Or redistribution. Fuck, whatever the fuck it is. Um, Anyways, right, we have these stacked lows, like this consolidation. This is where we're gonna drop to the fastest, right? So this London low, right, in terms of this whole model I was just talking about, right? Where are we gonna come to, right? These lows right here, right? This is where a lot of orders are sitting. So we're gonna run to this the fastest, right? And this London low, right? We sweep this low, right? These daily lows, stack daily lows, um, and we're still holding bearish, right? Holding bearish order flow, right? And then we run through London lows coming into the day, right? This is where we start. So that's our context coming into the day, right? First things I'm looking at is time-based liquidity, time-based models. What are we looking at, right? What's happening? What's the context? Understanding that picture on all the time frames basically, so I can dial it in and align it to the T, and also what comes right after that, the time-based liquidity. Where are we delivering from? What comes second to that is order flow. What are we still respecting? So I'm seeing, right, we take this time-based liquidity right here, right? We sweep it, right? Wicking. What is order flow looking like? Well, let's use our context as well, right? But very bearish order flow, right? We have this context right here. We're coming back up into this bearish PD, right? What are we doing? We're respecting it. That's the best way, to gauge order flow and trend, right? is just understanding these candles, right? We're coming back in here wicking off hard, right? So you got to understand order flow second. And lastly, where are we likely to head to? Where is the targeted? Where is the liquidity, right? These stacked lows, right? So now I'm very confident coming to the day after seeing us run through London lows. I'll show you guys right here that we are coming down to this liquidity. All right, so let's get into it. Coming right into the day, this is London lows right here. We actually have this first percent of fair value gap right here on ES. We never even really come to retest it until later, I believe. Anyways, still gets respected until the main target is finished. But anyways, coming into the day, right, I'm seeing us run through London lows. We're looking a lot weaker on ES than NQ. Keep this in mind. All right, NQ sweeps. Where is it? Sweeps some highs, right? Makes lower lows. Does all that good stuff. Anyways, comes down below London lows. What does it reject off of? Actually, look once again, London lows. So right here, actually, we break out of London lows. We break below it. That's the last thing I'm looking at to get in our way. It's the last thing that could possibly be in our way. As we come back up, right, I'm looking for a breakout kind of model type of trade. So what do we have? Let's go down to the lower time frame because in this type of move, it's going to be fast shoot down, right? Because that was the last thing in our way. This is the last part of the model that we're going to shoot down fast. So what do we have here? We get an SMT actually on the 32nd. Right here, we get this SMT, right? This little sweep, inverse this fair value gap, right? And very strong price action, right? We get this fair value gap below. Now, we get this SMT right here on the internal side. Show you guys what NQ looks like, right? Watching this. All right, so we sweep this high, right? NQ. Right, NQ gets a pretty obvious model, like low, high, lower, low, higher, high, low, higher, high, lower, low. It's kind of like a basic unicorn model, right? Right off the top of London's lows, right? Turning this, support level into a resistance level and coming down to take liquidity, right? So very nice context in this model, right? We're coming right back up to that, now you want to see it become a balanced price range, a breaker, right? Right, respecting off this breaker, we get a model right off this breaker to shoot us down. So on ES, the weaker name, right? We have this SMT here, right? Also a sweep of this little high right here, right now. Normally, in most cases, right, this is kind of like too small of a model, but when you have it down this precise and you see it be this strong, you can basically take it. But anyways, we have this low, high, lower, low, higher, high, right? But also sweep this high, or put an SMT right here, I believe. And once again on NQ, right, we're retesting this breaker on ES, right? We're not really. We broke below it, retested it right immediately, and popped down. But anyways, we get this nice model, right? We see this bearish, this very large candle, right? Very large bullish candle, right? Gets completely inversed with a fair value gap over it. Now, my entry was set right here. Oh fuck, that's a long. Anyways, my entry was set right to this candle, right? Right to the body of these candles, right? We obviously never get refilled or a retest, right? This is way too fast of a move with this context, right? I should have just bought market right here, right as we broke out. Sadly, we could not get that though. Same thing with NQ right here. Could have bought right as we broke out. Sadly, once again, could not get that. But the model was really clean on NQ. And maybe that on NQ is where I try to take the trade. But anyways, regardless, right, we're getting a fair value gap regardless, closing right strong below. We could just never get the refill, right? But in this scenario, our risk to reward is so good. Here, let me show you this. Our risk to reward is so good that a retest really doesn't matter, right? I think ES though was the weaker name, so that's what I was looking for, right? Anyways, sweep this nice little high right here, make a lower low, and that's all I need to see, right? With this fair value gap, very strong price action, it's a very clean model. Right, once again, This is what I tried to get entered at. This would have been my risk to reward. If I had just done this, I would have had a really good risk to reward still. Right, so as long as your risk to reward is solid, just take the trade when it presents itself, you know. But anyways, right, we actually technically get an SMT right here. Um, I haven't drawn it in, but we get an SMT right here. This is where I'm looking for now a retracement, right? Because now, right, we still have technically, at this point in the 1 hour, left this low behind, right? Same thing on NQ, right? We still have this one last low to come take out, right? But we also put in an SMT right here because this low, okay, well, it's not let me do that. All right, this second low right here is, or no, this first low right here is this low on ES, which we take right away on NQ. So we still have this, little SMT right here. So we have room for a retrace is what I'm thinking, right? After sweeping those lows on NQ, we sweep these higher time frame lows. Look at the bearish PD arrays that get disrespected now. Look at this huge fair value gap, disrespected. Order block, disrespected. Look at the strong order flow up, right? Look at this fair value gap. Market structure shift higher, market structure shift higher. Fair value gap over this PD array, right? We're very strong. Obviously, we're coming for a reversal. I try and get filled once again, right here at this change in the state of delivery. Obviously, never get filled, but we do get a nice little internal model right here. I get filled somewhere in here. We run up to here. I have my stops at break even just because we're coming up to this breaker, right? And then I get stopped at break even, sadly. So, damn, poor day. But I'll show you how I can be better here as well, right? I was honestly at this point looking for a full-fledged reversal because we had put an SMT at this low and taken out all these lows, and order flow was so damn bullish now. Right? We even get a market structure shift higher on the 15-minute with a fair value gap over it. Right? Pretty good looking. But then again, this is a Friday, right? No, or I don't. There might have been news. I don't know, but this is a Friday, and we still did leave these lows behind, right? Um, so we probably want to come back and fill that order or fill those orders, right? And then this would be a 1 hour sweep, and now we can maybe go up in reverse, right? But I was looking for a reversal too early, right? We had this huge trend behind us, might as well not go for a home run in the opposite direction, first of all, right? It's probably just going to be a retracement in this type of trend. And we have left this low over, right? Which we do come back and take later. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But let me see what I wrote down. Actually, I wrote something down for this. Sorry.
Jack wants to say hi.
Oh my god. All right. So also, yeah, just understanding expansion versus retracement moves, right? Um, and having more conservative price targets. You're gonna get a lower risk to reward on those retracement trades. It's just the way it is. You're not trading with the trend and the higher time frame based model that's at play, right? The whole model that's giving the trend, right? But anyways, on this retracement, right, we could have took smaller price targets and actually locked in profits, right? And just understanding that it's a retracement, right? We still have this higher time frame low left behind, and this trend behind us, this trend that's with us, right? And this overall model that still has to play out to this low, and yeah, there's this trend, right? Might as well, not try and call a whole on reversal right here. Call the bottom, especially when we don't have a higher time frame model in place for it. Now, if this 1 hour model gets put in place, right, we make a nice market structure shift higher over here, then maybe we can start to look for that. But we got a kind of a 4 hour model, daily kind of model right against us right now. But yeah, so with that being said, probably not the best idea to look for a full on reversal that yet. Going against the trend, you're just not going to get that, right? This was your home run trade. This is your lower risk to reward trade, but still worth it. You could have knocked out. You could have used what? Where is it? Find it. Standard deviation. Not looking the hottest here. What about this? I mean, you still could have used standard deviation. Got yourself like a solid little trade. Also, there was a nicer internal model here. We put an SMT actually in a higher high, so you actually could have got pretty solid risk to reward. But say, you got in on this candle, right? I mean, yeah, bro. Like, risk to reward is just really not there on this trade unless you got a better entry and all that. But yeah, straight. Unfortunately, not too much you could really do on this one. But yeah, it does come back to this 1 hour or this 15-minute breaker, this 1 hour order block, I believe. I don't know. This resistance level once again where we dropped off of and then finally continues to move after a nice model. So yeah, really got to play those retracement trades. Understand, it's against the trend, it's against the higher time frame model. We don't have a higher time frame model in place in this, in this direction, right? But we do have enough for a retracement. So that's what you got to take, right? Retracement price targets, use internal standard deviation. There was an internal model right here, actually. Standard deviation, right? Use that. You can put your stops right here, in this little area, or your price targets in here. Right. Take your little model, 30-second model, right here. So your entry. Right here. You still would have got like a 2R. So, you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, we had that retracement, use lower price targets and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's really it though.